It's the American family Christmas that you just yearn to have anymore. It's the simplicity. It's the family. It's the meal. It's that boy just wanted that Red Ryder BB gun so bad. It's not an iPad. It's not an iPhone. And this little guy says, oh, we're going to go see Ralphie. Why can't I go see him?
So if there's something that you can share to those listeners that have never had the chance to watch it, what would you tell them? The one scene where Scott Farkas punches me in the shoulder, that took about 17 takes. And that was because...
I do wish you could come to our birthday.
Oh.
That would have been amazing. Welcome back, dear listeners, to another Major Word edition of Talking a Christmas Story with the Cast. And I'm your host, Yano Anaya, also known as Grover Dill, from that beloved holiday classic, A Christmas Story. Today, we have a very special episode for you. We're going to be joined by performing artist Chelsea Hartmann, her partner Zach, and their 3 awesome kids. They are going to take us on a journey through the 40th anniversary event in Hammond, Indiana, a visit to the A Christmas Story house, and so much more. Then we're going to flip the script, and I'm going to give the family a chance to ask me their burning behind-the-scene questions that nobody has ever asked. Whether you've seen the movie or not, this is a tale that goes beyond the screen. It's about family, togetherness, and making the kind of memories that will last a lifetime. I'm reminded of a scene in the movie when the Parker family does something that you may have experienced with your own family. Now imagine Ralphie, his brother Andy, his mother, and the old man all bundled up against the cold snow crunching under their feet. The smell of pine needles hangs in the air as the 4 of them search the perfect Christmas tree. Nothing scraggly or shaggy will do. They need a big, magnificent tree. Why? Because Christmas only comes once a year, as the old man says. The kids, their noses red from the chill, pay close attention while their father haggles with the tree salesman trying to get their best deal in town. This scene is a little slice of Americana, so true to life that even those who have never had a Christmas tree can still share in the experience. So what does the old man mean when he says, Christmas only comes once a year? Without telling us, he shows us the importance of going all out, of doing something special, even if it isn't the most practical. It's a reminder to all of us that every now and then, buy the big tree. Get your kid the things that he wants most in the world. Or in the case of Chelsea Hartmann and her family, pile into the car and drive through the night to Hammond, Indiana to take part in an incredible event. When we talk about the magic of the holiday season or the magic of the 40th anniversary event, it's important to remember that this type of magic isn't a trick or illusion. It is created by people coming together to meet and share their stories and create new ones together. The magic isn't in the gifts or decorations. It's about the time spent together, the moments that we share, and the memories that we make. Whether it's picking out a Christmas tree or attending an anniversary event or beloved movie, it's the togetherness that counts. And that's exactly what we're here to celebrate today. Before we start, I'd like to invite you to check out the episode out on YouTube. These kids are all dressed up in their pink bunny suits, and we're going to share lots of awesome photos for you of the event. So even if you're listening on your favorite podcast app, take some time to actually go to Talking a Christmas Story with the Cast on YouTube when you have the chance. Check it out. Now, let's go ahead and dive right in. I am so excited to be joined by Chelsea Hartmann, who is here to sing for us. Just joking, but she's actually an incredible singer and performer. But she is with us today to share her heartwarming memories of attending the 40th anniversary event in Hammond, Indiana with her family. But that's not all. She and her family also took a detour to the iconic Christmas Story house, and we'll get into it, just how magical that experience was. Chelsea's story is a blend of family, fun, and the magic of the holidays. Chelsea and family, thank you so much for coming on our show. Well, welcome the Hartmann family to Talking a Christmas Story with the Cast. I'm Yano Anaya, your favorite toady, Grover Dill. And I met all you guys at the infamous and famous 40th anniversary event in Hammond, Indiana, the birthplace of A Christmas Story. And I will never, ever forget how excited you guys were when you guys were there. So welcome to the podcast, and thank you for taking the time to do this.
Thanks for having us. We're so excited to be here. Yay.
Yeah, this is amazing. So I have some questions for you guys. And this is just we're going to kind of just go into however you feel. Okay, I love to be able to just address your emotions, address your feelings, and what your experiences are authentically. So, as you guys know, you are all part of the A Christmas Story family now. And we absolutely love hearing what the movie means to you and how it's a part of your lives. So, for you and your fiance, are you guys getting married yet, or is you guys almost there?
Zach, what are we?
It's in the works.
We're in the works. Yeah. Yeah.
Understood.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yep, it's okay. All good. So, for both of you guys, when did you actually watch this movie as kids, and do you all watch it together as a family now?
I'm gonna let Zach start with that.
Okay.
He's gonna start that one.
Oh boy. I guess, it all started just when I was young. Christmas, I never really started watching it. My dad watched it. And when they would have the 24 hours, you would always hear it in the background. And then I guess I just found myself watching it, throughout the years growing up, and it became just more of a tradition almost, in the fact that I loved the movie. I mean, I loved the movie, don't get me wrong, but it was more of a tradition. And I guess when I met Chelsea, I told her it's my favorite movie. Every Christmas we have to watch it. And I would say that I brought her on board with the Christmas Story. My dad, too, he'd always walk around, and you'd hear him. He loved the Santa line where he'd put the boot on the boy's face, ho, ho. You'd hear my dad doing that all the time.
When he kicked Ralphie.
So, yeah, it was just always that feeling of, the Christmas smells and everything, Christmas time, and having that playing in the background. I would say it was equivalent as to NASCAR, listening to that throughout the year. So it was... That's how I kind of fell in love with it. So
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. And what is your father's name?
Dale Ned Wadney.
Dale. So I want to do a shout out to Dale, your father, because he obviously had a love and a passion for this movie to the point where he shared it with his family.
Yep.
And I'm sure that, I don't know if you've ever had the conversations with him about, Dad, why this movie? What is it that resonates with you so much that you shared it with me? Because as what you expressed is that it just was in the house. Like, it's like you just remember it just being on in the background, and then eventually getting into what it actually was, right? And I'm going to be honest with you, that you are amongst hundreds of thousands of fans who have the same experience where their parents just had it on in the background, and it meant so much more to them than maybe you are aware of. So I want to do a shout out to your father, Dale, because he fell in love with it and he shared it with you. And we, as the A Christmas Story family, are super excited that he did that, because part of our mission, as you guys know, is to keep this generational. As we have a bunch of children in front of you guys right now that are watching it or dressed in it and love it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so, we appreciate that. And
when he's younger than I am, so like I think about that for you, like the generation, it was his dad's more so, getting him into it. And can I come in on how it came to be?
Absolutely.
Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
So growing up, I always remember it coming on, but my mom was a Hallmark movie, like, so she'd be like, shut that one off. I don't know why, but my mom never got into this movie, but like, and I'm sad to say that, because like as a kid, I remember hearing it, the sounds, and she'd go on to like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer or something like that, but I'm saying now I get with Zach, and he would be like, oh, it's the marathon, we got to get A Christmas Story on. Or like when we go to his family Christmas, his dad would be saying lines from the movie, like you'd hear it like while we were there. And just for me, I have this new respect for it. Like for me, it's the American family Christmas that you just yearn to have anymore. It's the simplicity. It's the family. It's the meal. It's that boy just wanted that Red Ryder BB gun so bad. It's not an iPad. It's not an iPhone. It's not all these, truly like expensive out of this world gifts. It's just a Red Ryder BB gun. And it meant so much, So like to me, it's the heart of the simplicity of family Christmas. And it actually like tears me up, because like I watch Christmas now and the decorating. So like even just seeing, they don't decorate like they used to back then. It's like piggies where it was filmed, like the decorating back then. People don't, I feel like, take a note to it's the memories that you create with family. And now this has become part of our memory, like
That's
our
amazing.
adventure to see you guys. So
that's truly special when it comes to how it creates that bond in family, because what you said is 100% real when it comes to just the feeling of Christmas, that feeling of love, that feeling of bonding, that feeling of coming together and just celebrating something special.
it is.
It is. It's not really about the presents, but it is about that one thing that, we truly want. So that's amazing how you guys shared, this movie, and it obviously trickled down from Dale. You know what I mean? So shout out to Dad again, man. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So cool. So I want to talk about the 40th anniversary. You guys drove a long way. You had a great experience, but I want to understand it from your words. Can you describe what the event did for you guys?
I think we should let these two. So, okay, just to clarify, Zane here did not venture out. He loves the movie, but he's not for long car rides. So he did stay back. And then when we came back, he goes, I wish I'd have gone now. So he did. He said next time. But these two, what did you guys think of that long ride? But when we got there, what did we see?
Magic stuff.
It was magic. That's what they said. It was just magic when we walked in there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So all the presents, the Santa ride, right? All the displays. It was like that. That was magical. I'm glad you guys loved that.
I would show them what each character, who you were. I showed the picture of you in the movie because I'm like, this is who we're seeing. Ralphie, Randy, all of them. It's like I said, this is what they were. So then they knew then when we finally got in line to meet you all, they knew who you guys were because they know you as little guys.
Yeah,
like them. So
yeah, that's cool that you did that because it's so true. Because a lot of the times, young kids who actually see the movie and then they meet us, they're like, that's not him.
I know.
There's no way. He's too old. He's an old guy. That's not him anymore.
They don't understand that really, but no, this was my Christmas present. So I said to Zach, I don't care. I just want to get in the car. And it was the week before Christmas, really. And it was a chaotic time. And I was like, let's just go. So we did. We just loaded up and we drove 8 hours and he drove the whole way through because then we thought it didn't start till noon, but really by the time we got there, y'all were going to be starting, and it was the piggy eating mashed potato contest.
Oh, awesome!
We gotta go, so we quickly get ready. We ate some continental breakfast, and off we went to see you guys. And eat some mashed potatoes.
That's awesome.
He did that.
Well, I would love to hear from each of you what your favorite story or part or memory from the event was.
I'm thinking on this one too because there was a lot. It was jam-packed.
There's a lot. I'm sure there is. But what was one that you will never ever forget?
Oh, I love meeting you all.
He loved to meet you all. He said yes.
That's awesome. Okay.
The mashed potato eating contest.
You'll never forget that one, huh?
I wish I did.
The girl puked next to him pretty much. So and he doesn't she did. She's tiny, but she won. He does not eat mashed potatoes. So Zach did it the first day and took second. Lime goes, I want to do that, Dad. I said, we're at food therapy. We don't eat things like that. But he did it.
And he placed second.
We were pretty proud of him.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
We did it too, but so yeah, it was good.
That's amazing.
My thing's probably walking in and seeing all the people outside. All the people that were waiting and we got in there and just the magic of the lines and even the gift shop, all the things inside, just seeing it all the Macy's animatronics that you could view. It was something you saw. You just don't see that anywhere. So it was beyond me when we walked in there.
Including Ohio. I did love going to Ohio.
I went to Ohio afterwards.
Yes, we did.
Awesome.
We went 5 more hours to the house after that.
Wow, that's the cherry on the top, right?
It was.
That's amazing.
In a blizzard. In a blizzard. So
man. I bet that was a great experience too. So Dad, tell me about how your experience was at the event.
I'm not really one to to do those kind of things, but I know that she wanted to go really bad, so obviously it's all about making her happy. I would say my favorite experience, part of that experience would be just watching everything. I'm a people observer. I like to watch people and how things work. I like to watch things that are going right, things that are going wrong. I'm very observant in that sense. So it was just the whole experience, just watching it in general and how it all just kind of worked and meeting everyone. And there really wasn't anything that was a letdown. Like, the whole thing was really good.
It was fun.
And yeah, I guess the potato eating contest.
It was
all right.
That was like the little extra fun that you wouldn't really think you're going to go eat a bunch of potatoes. It was really cool.
Very filling. Very filling.
And all the cast was super nice. Yes. I will say it wasn't quite like, I didn't know, like, you know, how are you going to be? Like, how do these guys act outside of character now that they're older?
Right.
And everyone was it was like family. It really was. Felt like family.
Yeah, I bet that's a, something that Ian Petrella, who, played Randy, had a really good saying that he said was that, people don't necessarily look at us like heroes, right? Because we have been in their household their entire life, and they kind of look at us like family, right? Because we resonate with the different things that happen in the movie. So that's amazing that when you got there and you had this just feeling of just being comfortable and being in love with the situation and just having the overwhelming feelings of just feeling Christmas and being surreal, meeting the cast, you know what I mean? And Dad, I got to tell you that, you being willing to do that, because it's not necessarily something that you always do, was life-changing to not only your future wife, but your kids as well, man. So,
Sure.
People observing and watching everything is just, it's like, that's the essence of bringing these really family-filled, fun memories to where now, your children are going to look back and they're going to say, yeah, our dad took us to the 40th anniversary event. They're in their 20s and 30s, right? And they're talking about this for decades, and that's something that's truly special. So good job.
And bring the kids. We were originally going to just be me and Zach, but then this little guy says, oh, we're going to go see Ralphie. Why can't I go see him? Because the pink bunny costume, Yeah. Well, then he wanted to go, and then I said, Zach, we should bring him, because I said it's traditional, and they will. I said, when they're just like you said, when they're 20, they are going to remember this forever, and
they already want to go back.
We're all getting older, I said, like, how long is it that you get to meet these guys forever?
Yeah,
so,
no doubt.
And they want to go back now. We want to go back. So they keep saying it.
That's so cool. So you guys drove 8 hours. Where'd you drive from?
Minnesota.
Okay.
So Paynesville, little tiny town in Minnesota.
Awesome. And then you drove back to the second part of your journey was the house. So the house for me is also something very magical. So tell me about your experience when you went through the house.
So originally, I'll say we rolled in at what was it, midnight the night before?
Oh no, it was like 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning.
It was snowing. It was a blizzard, and then the lights were on this house. There's they were gonna start removing snow, so to get it ready for the next day. But I took all these amazing photos of it, looking Christmas. It just felt like. I feel like you. Can you stop that, honey? You could visit it in July. You could, but we visited the week before Christmas, so that was just stunning in itself. But then we went and got a hotel. The next day we came around. Well, we did go to also Higbee's. Well, what would be now it's
awesome.
We went there, and they had some displays out of A Christmas Story. So we took pictures, and that mall is just crazy. I picture it back then, the big trees and the nutcrackers. Then we went to the house, and that was the kids sitting at the desk with Ralphie's notebook paper, and you can sit on the toilet. You can put this. Well, don't put the soap bar in your mouth.
Right. Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah. Oh, under the sink, Randy, you can sit at the table. It was not enough. We want to stay in the house. That's a goal. So it was awesome. It was just icing on the cake. I cried that we were going. I did.
That is so cool.
Shout out to the restaurant next door.
That restaurant too is awesome. Right by there.
They got great burgers, man.
Oh, it was so good. And leg lamps everywhere. Like even inside of, there's like people had leg lamps hanging upside down when we went to like the mall thing or whatever where Higbee's was.
Yeah.
I mean, and then you go in there. It was just, it's cool because you can tell like the story lingers, and I think it's a year-round presence.
Yeah,
there.
It's amazing. If there's anything that you would like to share, because in our podcast, we reach a lot of people that actually have never even seen the movie as well, and of course there's millions of Christmas Story fans. And, you guys sharing your experiences is helping solidify keeping this legacy alive, right? Yep. And so for those people that have never actually had the opportunity to watch the movie yet, because they exist, right? And sometimes there are people that see the movie and don't like it, but then later on in their life, it really does speak to them. So if there's something that you can share to those listeners that have never had the chance to watch it, what would you tell them?
You can go first.
It's just a classic nostalgia. I mean, it's Christmas. To me, it's funny. It kind of hits every point, and I think you would be foolish not to give it a chance. I just do, and I do truly mean that, because it just growing up with it's just. Every year we have to watch it, and I'll be bummed out if we don't. We'll probably watch it tonight.
We're going to watch it tonight. We were going to watch it last night, but it got too late. We watch it all year round. I mean, it's not just a Christmas thing in our house. So
yeah, that's amazing.
And what I like about it as well is I like how Ralphie narrates through the whole movie. Like the whole, like, in his head, he's narrating through his mind, and I just like how it's put together. I really do enjoy that.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah,
I think that was because I even looked like what like resources were back then, like even just the audio. I think of that, like how they made it, like it's truly a masterpiece in its time. Like it is. When you think of how everything took place, even like the poll, I heard how they actually filmed that with like a little suction, and like I never knew that. Like how brilliant is that back in that time? I'm just like, to me it's like having technology. Like these guys were awesome, like masterminds. I think of it because I think of how does this all work? What did it take for that? What did it, how many times did they make that kid do that line? They
really stuck his tongue to the bowl.
Yeah, right. No, for me, it's just that, again, that nostalgia, and like there is no other Christmas movie out there that delivers the family values, it's just, again, the good old-fashioned family Christmas, that there's nothing like it out there. So I'm addicted, so I'm glued to it. Like, weren't you originally supposed to have the other, or didn't you guys' roles get flipped?
Yes.
You weren't originally supposed to be?
Yeah, that's correct. So when I had gotten the script for A Christmas Story, and my role as Grover Dill was actually all the lines that Scut Farkus spoke. So I was actually going out for the main bully as Grover Dill. Grover Dill was supposed to be the main bully, and Scut Farkus was supposed to be the sidekick. Mm-hmm. And same with Zach. Zach Ward, who played Scut Farkus, he auditioned in Toronto. And what's crazy is that we both had the same experience in different countries about our audition. Like, we both walked into this huge room, and there was literally 200 or 300 other kids that were auditioning for the same role. And when I walked in, it was an old YMCA, right? And there was this long desk, and there was about 6 people, adults, behind the table. And I walked in with my mom, and I was like, Mom, there's like 300 kids here. Like, I'm never going to get this role. This is a waste of time. Like, what are we doing? And she was like, just do your job, right? Just go on your audition and do your thing. And I was like, okay. You know what I mean? So you go up to this table, and what's crazy, too, to think about back in the day is how they identified you was your social security number. So what they basically did is they yelled out your social security number, not even your name, because there's so many kids that have the same name, right? So I went up there, and I, read the lines, and I was like, okay, we're out of here, and off to the next audition. Well, 2 days later, I got a call back. And the callback was 100 less kids, right? I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. I got a callback, but there's still 200 kids here. So I did my thing again. And then, I got another callback. And this time it was only about 10 kids. And it was in the room with Bob Clark and Gene Shepard and a couple of other producers. And I read for them. And Bob Clark said, okay, go ahead and wait outside. And so I was like, all right, cool. So I waited outside. And then he came back out. He said, all right, come back in. I want you to read some lines a little bit differently. So I read those lines a little bit differently. And they said, okay, wait outside. I was like, oh my God, okay, I think I might get this job, right? I'm getting all excited now. And then he came back out and he pulled my mom to the side and he went back into the room. And my mom came up to me and said, okay, Bob Clark is giving you the job as Grover Dill, but you have to cut off all your hair. I was like, what? No, I decline. I'm not going to cut my hair off, Mom. I'm not going to do that for this movie. Plenty of other jobs that they'll hire me with my hair, right? And she was like, no, you're cutting your hair off. It'll grow back. I'm like, oh, okay, Mom knows best. So I did that. And when we got on set a couple of weeks later, Bob Clark saw me and Scott Farkas standing next to each other. And he was like, okay, let's just switch lines. And Zach and I looked at each other like, what do you mean? Switch lines? He was like, well, you're going to read the lines of Scott Farkas and you're going to read the lines of Grover Dill. And we both looked at each other like, but we've memorized all of our lines already. Like now we have to memorize everybody else. Oh my God. So it was on the fly. Like literally he switched characters, meaning the lines for each character. So that's basically how it went down because it didn't make sense back in that day that, the taller, scarier looking character needs to be the bully, right? And the shorter kind of, mischievous little good looking kid was the toady, right? And so that happened to be me. So that's how that went down. Yeah.
That's so awesome.
Right?
I just think of that, like how, just again, the process and how that works. Like I've tried to put myself in, like, how would that even, like, and you were how old again?
I was 10.
10. So yeah, it's like these two, they're going to be 10 in 2 years. So it's like weird to think of that. You know what I mean? As a mom, like going in.
Yeah.
It is. That
Absolutely.
is really, and out of all those kids, I mean, I just think about like, how has it changed your life? Like for the rest of your life?
So it changed my personal life a lot because being a child actor, kids that are never actors or don't, know actors, it becomes a thing to talk about. At first, it wasn't really comfortable because now it's like there's a lot of whispers and people are always talking about you behind you. And it became very positive as I started to do more work. So, it became a positive thing for me because I wasn't the kind of person that was conceited or was, boastful about being an actor. I was very humble and very kind of conservative. And, those that really were showing their friendship to me are the ones that, I became friends with. And so it really did, I guess, help me develop a lot of friends in my life that I still actually talk to still to this day. So it did help me create and establish more friendships that I'm very grateful for. And then when the movie came out, obviously it didn't really do really well, right? So we were like, oh, okay, that was a bomb, just one more show, that didn't really do any well. Well, of course, it started to catch attention when it went on TV 24 hours. And then, years later, back in 2006, is when I actually got invited by Scott Schwartz, who plays Flick in the movie, to an event. And that event was in New Jersey at a show called The Chiller Show. And it was me, Zach Ward, Ian Petrella, and Scott Schwartz. And we did autograph signings. And, Scott told me, he was like, yeah, man, you just come with us. They'll pay for your flights. They'll pay for your hotel. And you just meet fans and pay, and they pay you for your autograph. And I'm like, what do you mean they pay me for my autograph? What does that mean? He was like, you just sign a piece of paper and they pay you. And I'm like, no way. Wow. That's a thing?
Yeah.
That's a thing? Really? And so that weekend when I went, Chelsea, I met almost 2,500 fans in 2 days. It was smaller than the one in Hammond, but it was my first event. It was huge, right? I met so many fans. And that's when I learned that this movie means a lot to people. And I got to meet so many people that this movie meant so much to with their family and creating this tradition. And it kind of dawned on me as to, wow, like I'm a part of something that is American history now. And now here we go, we're 19 years later and it's only getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So for me, it has definitely changed the way that I look at fans, because the impact that it has within their family and creating traditions. And, for me, family is everything. For me, family loyalty means a lot to me. And now I have the opportunity to make a bigger impact with families across the nation. And it's not like something that I have to go try to find. Everybody's already there. And all I have to do is just insert myself in a way that inspires families to continue to watch the movie and pass it down. And also, now they have a different outlook and a different view on this movie, that they've actually got to know the cast in a way that just brings it full circle to everybody. And it's just an amazing opportunity. So that's how it's changed my life. Yeah.
Because even us coming to meet you guys, all of you, like watching the movie now is just, it's a different vibe. It just is like, it's got a wholesomeness, a whole new meaning. And it's, I'll be honest, going there, it's not what I thought we'd come back with. And I'm just so like, I feel blessed by it. I feel honored that we're even here today. Like, seriously, I do. The whole thing is just magic. So it is. It's a magical thing. So I'm so thankful we met you. And back to your character, though, there is actually quite a bit. Like when you guys, like you're running after them, like it's like fast motion, like those different scenes. Like, I mean, how many times did you guys have to shoot these different scenes?
Good question. So the back alley of chasing, back and forth was probably 3 or 4 times. Like the thing about us actually having experience as actors, we were pretty good at being able to do what they wanted us to do, because first of all, it was freezing outside. And, the technology was not advanced back in those days. So you got to remember they had the big 3500, cameras that had like train tracks that it would sit on, and because they were so heavy, they were like little tanks and 35 millimeter film. And so every time that we moved into a different scene, it took a long time for them to set all that up. So, as we were running back and forth, it was like 3 or 4 different takes, and they just used those same takes. You know what I mean? As you can see, the little laughing and the high pitched laughing, running back and forth in the alleys. It's kind of the same scene over and over again.
Same scene, yeah.
But like the one scene where Scud Farkas punches me in the shoulder, that took about 17 takes. And that was because Bob Clark really truly wanted Scud Farkas to hit Grover Dill and cause pain to get that authentic reaction. It was so cold out there that his gloves were literally like bricks. They were like bricks.
Wow.
And so, that took about 16, 17 takes. And then they finally said, okay, we got what we want. And I think they used the 3rd take.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. So it was very cold. We were in Toronto, right? So it was literally between 10 degrees and minus 20 during those scenes. So it was a challenge for the crew. It was a challenge for everybody, during that weather. But that's what they needed to capture it. You know what I mean? Because in Cleveland, we were there for 2 weeks and it never snowed. It didn't get cold enough. So that's why they created fake snow on the house, and then they quickly moved everything up to Toronto, and they built the house inside of a set. And all the other scenes that you see in the movie are actually on a set inside of a studio.
Yeah, I read that actually. Yeah. So that's. And then they say like, is it when the window's blurred out or something that's inside the set? And then when you're, I don't know, I read something about that.
Chelsea did her research.
I did.
She studied it very.
Since we have met all of you, I have like read on a lot of stuff. So it's just, it's awesome. It's intriguing. Because like, again, like, I don't know,
we'll be watching a movie, any movie, and you'll look over and she's at her phone just digging about how the movie is.
Yeah.
She won't even watch the movie. She just wants to know how it was done.
Yeah, I do. Because it's like, to me, it's work to do it. Like, I'm even, look at my kids right now. See this?
Yeah.
They're, the attention span. So then I think of like 10-year-olds, like you guys were young. Like, how do they keep your attention? How do they keep you guys, and I get it, you're trained more like to do the acting, but like, you're still kids.
We were, but, also knowing that Peter Billingsley, who played Ralphie, and Scott Schwartz, who played Flick, had already done several big movies. So for me, when I got hired to do this, and I found out that I was going to be working with the Dirt Bike Kid and working with Scott Schwartz, who played the toy, it was like, oh my God, I'm working with superstars. So it was exciting to do that. Now, attention span, like I don't, to be honest with you, it was a very different time. Remember, cell phones didn't exist. The only phones inside the house existed, so, our attention was basically thinking, when am I going to get on my bicycle and ride around the neighborhood? That was the deepest thing. You know what I mean? So it was very different with coming with our attention span. We were really focused on our job because, again, even at that early age, being in the industry, we're very well aware that time is money. You know what I mean? And we understand that we have a job to do and we need to execute and make it authentic as possible. So, all those things taken consideration, it was just a process.
Well, like your outfit too, like how was that already just kind of planned or like
already planned?
It was.
Yeah. So the first time I actually
switch too? Did your outfit switch too? Like switch?
Just our lines. That's it. Everything else remained the same. Yeah. So when I went to wardrobe, they outfitted me, and once they outfitted me, Bob Clark came in and approved it. Said, "Yep, that's it. Let's go. Keep that same one." And they rented, my whole outfit. So I didn't. Of course, I asked to keep the hat, the jacket, and little knickers and the boots, but they wouldn't let me because they rented it from a shop. Right. So it wasn't theirs to give away. So yeah. Good.
I want to hold on to that.
Really good memories.
It is. Well, and just to like when we picked your autograph picture, I asked you like what was your favorite, and you said the one I chose because your mom took it.
Yeah.
So like that actually hit home to me. I was like, that's awesome. Like there's that's love in that, So Absolutely. And I feel that about you. You have a humbleness about you. So like right away it's very welcoming and very it's legit. You're a legit person. Like it's awesome. I appreciate that. We feel that. So yes.
Awesome. Well,
do you guys have any questions? Well, he's got a question for you.
Yeah. How come you weren't in the Christmas Story movie when Ralphie comes home?
How come what?
How come you weren't in the movie when Ralphie comes home?
I think he means the second one.
I was actually in the movie. I was in the movie, but for a very short spot. The reason why is because they actually filmed the entire movie in Bulgaria, and so they were very, I would say, very aware of their budgets, and they didn't have the budget to fly me out there. And because they filmed the entire thing there, they couldn't recreate a lot of it when they came back to the United States. So what they did is they actually filmed in Zach's studio in Sun Valley, California, which is close to North Hollywood, a couple of little snippets of me in there, and they chose one. So that was the best that they could do for me at that time.
Now we're gonna have to go back because we've really only watched that one twice.
I don't think I've ever actually.
Now we're gonna go back and check it out.
Yeah, so it's the prison scene when Ralphie's in jail. that's.
I remember that. Yep. Yeah. That's a good question. Like that's good job, Zandon. He pays attention more than I think. So, do you have any questions?
Yes.
Oh, he wants to ask you a question.
What happened when Ralphie kept getting punched in the face?
What happened to him? What happened to Ralphie?
Yeah, he kept getting punched in the face over and over.
No, that's not Ralphie. Ralphie did that to the bad guy.
Ralphie did that to Scott Farkas.
Yes, so he got it mixed up.
Yeah, that was probably one of my favorite sces.
Yeah.
Now, how did they?
Because the fake, the
little blood.
That was kind of fun.
It was iconic. It was literally iconic. I mean, Ralphie went into a whole different state of mind. Because it was the frustration of not being able to be successful with, getting people to change their mind about buying a BB gun for Christmas. Like he tried every avenue and he just was let down. Then he was let down with the little orphan Annie, decoder pin. And it was like all of this started to come down on his shoulders. And of course, you've got this antagonizing bully that's always there. And he just had enough. And when he went into that state of his own little, being unhappy, he just turned into a different person and did his thing. And it just so happened to really surprise Scud Farkas. and he happened to get a couple little good hits in on him and busted his nose open. And of course, even when Ralphie's mom came and got him and pulled him off, right, he had, like, Ralphie's mom had to shake him out of that state. It was like, Ralphie. And he was like, oh my God. And once he came back, he started crying, like, oh my God, I am in so much trouble now. Like, I am going to get beat at home, right? And so, but mom was there to protect him and help him through that challenging part of his life. And Scott Farkas kind of stood up and shook it off, and wiped off the blood, and was trying not to be embarrassed about getting his butt kicked, and went on his way, right?
I like that. That's a good scene. I like that one.
Yeah, it was really good. Good question.
He wants to know, how did they do this? They don't understand the blood, like, that's not real. So, like, how many takes did that take, and how did they put the blood on him? That's what he wants to know.
Sure. So think about, like, when you see Ralphie and he's going, and he's cussing and he's swinging, and you see his mittens flying around. Well, he's not actually hitting Scott Farkas. He's not on the ground, right? He's just acting like he is. So that gives the makeup artists the time to put blood on his face, so that when they come back to Scott Farkas and they see the hand smacking his face, every time you see that scene, you see more blood and more blood. Like, there's a little bit of blood, and then there's a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more, and that's because they're going back and forth to Ralphie and Scott Farkas. That's the magic of editing. That's the magic of makeup when it comes to movie making.
And he didn't actually punch him. He thought, like, he actually was punching him. Like, no, it's acting.
No, Scott Farkas will tell you a little bit different story. Scott Farkas will tell you that, even though it was movie magic and it looked like Ralphie was hitting him, he's not actually hitting him. But, back in those days when you had mittens, you had little, straps that went around your wrist so you could take your mittens off, and you don't lose them, right? And so they're hanging from your hands. And so when the mittens came off of his hands and he's swinging, those mittens in real life were frozen solid because it was 10 degrees below. So they were really hard and frozen. So as they were smacking him, you'll recognize that Zach Ward's face started to become red. And that's because he was getting smacked by some really hard mittens that were frozen on accident. It was an accident, but, it looked really good for the film.
That's good. That's awesome. That's a good one.
Yeah, and he wasn't very happy about that, but that's his story. It's funny. Good question.
I think that's also neat. You all have, like, your little inside things that we don't know about, but, like, while you were there, there's so much extra things that took place that you'll remember forever. Like, see, you just told that story. There's all them, like, behind the scene things.
Yeah, so. All those behind those things. So, one thing that there are so many behind the scene little secrets that we continue to tell over the years, but it's a lot of people have never heard it before. Like, do you remember when Ralphie turned into the little cowboy in his daydream, right? And he's using Old Blue to shoot the robbers in the backyard, and he's got tobacco in his mouth, and he's chewing and he's spitting, right? My Old Blue, right? And he's talking about how his gun's going to take out all the bad guys to save his family. Well, what they actually did is they actually put real tobacco in his mouth. Tobacco from a can into a 14-year-old's mouth, and nobody ever even thought about that. And what happened with Ralphie was that 15 minutes into filming, he started to feel the effects of the nicotine, and it got him super sick. Like, literally, he was green. Like, they took him to the hospital, and it was a big ordeal because nobody thought about giving him something fake to put in his mouth. They actually pulled out tobacco and put it in his mouth. So that happened. And that's
I get it.
Behind the scenes, right? So, anybody and everybody, specifically the fans that have never known that, that's something that actually happened. It's really wild. And that's another reason, back in the 80s, remember, we didn't have the internet just yet. And so communications and creating child labor laws, right? None of that was really enacted yet. So that's why they had us working our butts off, 12, 14, 16-hour days because there were no laws preventing that from happening. So a lot of real factual things that took place that will not happen today. in the industry.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
By the way, that cowboy suit, I love that suit. I've tried to look for them. I can't find it.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
Someone's got to find it.
Hand make that one, right?
Yeah. That's another thing I'm saying, though, for its time.
Right.
What an awesome outfit. He has a question for you.
Yeah.
This one. You want to ask?
How did they even film the movie?
How did they even do that?
Yeah. Like, what do you mean?
How did they film the movie?
Yeah, like what did they use to like record it?
A big old camera. It's a camera about the size of you. It's old. You know what? What you can do is have your mom actually Google what cameras looked like back in the 80s, and you'll see what they made it with.
I will.
Because they were big. Yeah, they were big.
Yep.
They were big
like
cameras. Not like it is today where you can just record on your iPhone.
Yep, exactly. You have no idea.
How heavy were they?
Heavy.
Yeah, very heavy.
Yeah, they were very heavy. It took 3 people to carry one.
And he said they put them on like railroad tracks to move them.
Yep, like a little railroad.
I'll show you.
Yeah.
We'll Google that.
Well, that's awesome. Well, thank you guys for, sharing all your stories and asking all your awesome questions. I want to learn a little bit more about specifically your career as a singer. When did you actually start singing, and how did
My
you get
whole life.
performing?
Yeah.
You started when you were a child.
I was a kid, yeah, but like, are you actually specifically asking now? Like, you want to know?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like professionally and in bands and stuff, I was about 14 years old. So.
Right on.
But
that must be so much fun. Oh my God.
It is. I mean, it was. I think back on it now because like, I'm 39 now, so it's like it's weird to think like that many years has gone by, and the dream and just the passion and the hard work. So like I get you, like your mom, my mom was too, like was singing for me. So like, but I get the hard work and the dedication and the what it takes to get to where you want to be. Yeah. So yeah.
So who are some of your favorite artists that you actually worked with?
Oh gosh, so I've opened for CCR. I've opened for Jody Messina, Trick Pony back in the day, Brad Paisley a couple times, nice. Black Hawk. There's a lot. So I did all that while I was gonna graduate from high school. So I did that really young too. So like in the same year I was about to be graduating, I was like traveling and opening for these national artists. So it was. I look back at that too, and at the time I was like, it's nothing, Well, I mean, it was, but I was like, I'm gonna be them one day, I wasn't super starstruck by it. It was just kind of like, this is what I do, But it is crazy to think about it, and I get starstruck now about it. So
that's amazing. It really is. That's awesome. And I know that you have been doing other things that are important to you that you're working on right now. You're raising awareness, right, for Alzheimer's. So can you tell all of us about, what inspired you to start doing that, and how can our listeners support you and your fight to end this horrific thing that's happening?
So my grandpa, he battled, we call it the long, slow goodbye. It was 10 years of this, which he was kind. He never got, angry. My grandma worked really hard to keep him home, and, but we started to notice, simple things. Like my dad and him worked really hard side by side, and Dad was starting to give him, things to do, and he would forget. And my dad's like, they're proud men, they work hard. Dad, why aren't, but it came out finally. He had Alzheimer's. He couldn't order off menus anymore. You had to order for him. So it was sad and hard because I was very close to my grandpa. And the day that it was Thanksgiving, he looked at me and he said, "And who are you?" And that it just tore me apart. So I wrote a song called Dear Grandpa. And then in that, he raced. So he has a race car, and her name is 8 Ball. So he raced her back in the 50s and the 60s, and we still have her. She doesn't have a motor, but we still have her. And so it was said to bring her out to the farm. So my dad loaded her up on the trailer. She was pulled out of the weeds and put on a trailer, and they brought her out there because he would sit in the house and he would tell you racing stories. Jim forgot who Jim was. Jim forgot who we were, but Jim remembered his beloved 8 Ball race car. So in that, he then got moved into the nursing home, but we live in town. So like I said to Grandma, why don't you let me bring 8-Ball to our yard in town? So we did. We loaded her up on a flatbed again, and here came 8-Ball in our yard, and I didn't think anything of it. Just the fact that 8-Ball's in my yard and I love her. Can you not do that, honey? So anyway, with that being said, I would go pick him up in the manor. We would go for a ride. We would end the ride with rounding our corner, and he would say, and I caught it on video, like it was his last time seeing 8-Ball, and he said, there she is. So our whole slogan is the race to the cure to end Alzheimer's, and there she is what he says about her. That's the slogan of it. But so we decorate her for, you know, to raise money too if people want to. But like we do a huge like Christmas display, Halloween display, and 8-Ball's like the center of that and the heart of it. And then in summer, like we do parades and car shows. Like we have a parade and a car show tomorrow, and I tell his story, and there's just honestly the amount of tears shed and people that, you know, they're battling it with a loved one right now, or they just lost their mom or dad. It's really hit home. And it was something that I actually didn't really even, what got me to do it is the city threatened to abate her out of our yard. It's like, we can't keep it in the yard because it's not licensed and it's don't have a motor. So I have fought the city on that. I said, you know, the guy built this town. It was hard. So what it turned into us though, like just making her be seen now and more than just in our yard. And yes, raising money to end this horrible, nasty disease. It is. So 8-Ball is definitely a slogan of she's on her final race is what I call it. And that's to end it.
Well, you know, you share that experience with Zach Ward because he lost his father to Alzheimer's last year as well, and I'm sure
I'm gonna tear up because this is hard because like my grandpa, I'm so sorry for that, and I read actually about him, and I do actually want to talk to him because I say to me this is like a movie. Like I said, geez, him and I need to talk about my grandpa's racing. Like, and I said, I think this is an Alzheimer awareness like movie that needs to happen. So, but no, my heart goes out to him.
Sounds like an amazing documentary.
Yeah, it is because there's so much more than what I can, you know, share. There's a lot of behind the scenes and things that I've had to battle, and it's just ripped my heart out. But in the end, the final checkered flag is to end Alzheimer's because it is just, it's terrible. To me, it's like you have cancer, but then you have Alzheimer's. And to me, like losing your mind, I can't imagine sitting in a room one day looking at my kids and not knowing.
I know who they are, and I know.
Yeah. So that's hard. Yeah.
It is. Before we go, I want to play a quick game with you guys because we always love to have some fun. So we're going to switch up the gear a little bit.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is just complete the end of a sentence with the first thing that pops into your mind. Okay. So for example, I'll say something like, if I found a leg lamp under my tree for Christmas, I would, and then you might say something like, put it in front of the window so all the neighbors can admire my major award. So these are kind of like rapid fire questions, right? So just answer as quickly and as clearly as you can, right? All right. So you guys
good at this.
Oh, that might get me in trouble.
There you go. All right.
Yeah, I think so. Zach's good at this.
So first one is, with my Red Ryder BB gun, I
might shoot my eye out.
Yeah.
Sorry, you got one better? Okay, he's got.
I don't have one better.
You don't?
No.
Okay, next.
Okay, next. If I ran into Grover Dill and Scut Farkas, the bullies from the movie, I would
Beat them up.
He said beat them up.
Stand up to him and beat him up. Let's get rid of bullying. I love it. All right, if I could sing a duet with any character from the movie, it would be
You.
No, yeah, you. Let's sing with you. Or Ralphie, I would say. That'd be kind of fun, too. No.
Right on.
I just say the old man, but
The old man.
Yes.
There might be some words there.
All right, so if I could play any character in a Christmas story, I'd be
Bumpus.
Your Bumpuses?
I'd be Bumpus.
What about you, Mom?
I'd be the mom. I'd be Mama.
I'd be Ralphie. I'll be Flick. I'd be the dad.
You're
I'll be
Flick.
Flick.
Old man.
Awesome. All All right, you guys, my favorite holiday song is...
Jingle bells.
I don't know. I have a lot. That's hard for me. The singing thing here,
Santa
but
Claus is coming to town.
Santa Claus is coming to town.
Nice.
I like All I Want for Christmas Is You. I mean, I like that one. Or Underneath the Tree. So,
I was like,
do you have one?
I don't know.
Too many for him,
I'm
too.
trying to think of it. If there's any like songs from A Christmas Story.
Yeah, I was trying to think that, too. Yeah.
All right. If I were an elf, my special talent would be...
Watching over kids.
Well, that sounds like a you question.
I know. I actually play an elf during Christmas. I'm Nori Jingles, the magical singing elf. So I would sing. That'd be mine.
Magical singing elf. I love it.
Yes.
That's very, very cool. All right. Now, my favorite moment from A Christmas Story is...
Getting kicked in the face by Santa.
What?
Did you hear that one?
I
You heard
did.
it? Okay. I love that one too, but
When Flick sticks his tongue to the pole. I love that
Okay.
part.
Flick sticking his tongue. I like when the dad gets really mad and says what about the bumpuses.
I was
You
gonna
gotta
say
say it. That's
I
like,
was going to say that too.
you see it all the time.
No, I'm not saying it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Filling up your blanks there.
Oh.
I like that. And then Ralphie with the bunny.
You know,
Costume,
one
that's
that
fun.
really sticks in my mind too is, and I don't know if it's because of how bright the bar of soap is, but when he takes the bar of soap in his mouth, that bar of soap's so bright red versus like the rest of the movie, it really just sticks in my head.
Oh, man. All right. The best way to spread holiday cheer is...
Singing off of here.
Yeah.
Singing loud for all to hear.
I love it. Good answer. That was perfect.
I said it because of the movie Elf.
Yes.
With
I know.
Ralphie's in that movie. I had to tell them that's main thing.
Yeah.
You didn't know.
What was the bar of soap?
It was so funny.
Actual like soap?
We're still playing a game. We gotta listen
Yeah.
to this game.
Well, that's it. That's all for playing the game.
Okay.
That's what we got. Yeah. So, thank you guys for playing along and being our guests on the podcast. And you brought some amazing energy and amazing stories, some tears, some emotions, some happiness, and some joy. This is the beauty behind what Christmas Story actually does. And I'm going to do one more thing is I, again, am going to shout out to Dale because Dale, this is what you created. This is your creation.
Yeah.
And I hope one day you get
It
a chance to watch this and just sit back and just love the fact that you created this. So thank you.
Oh, thank
Now,
you.
if there's anything that you would like to say before we go to fans, to your dad, to your mom, to anybody that you love, I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to just express yourselves why you'd like to say this and who would you like to say it to? Give thanks to somebody.
No, go ahead.
I want to say thank you to what you're doing with creating this whole family experience. And I hope and pray that we get to go to another Hammond event again and re-experience that magic. So I thank you for this, because I know it's not just us, it's many families that you reach out to. And just, I do thank your dad because I do feel like he did instill, what we're doing now with our kids and dragging them 8 hours to come see you guys and, stuff like that. And I want to thank just the fact that we're sitting here now because I'm hoping my kids, like you said, in their 20s, 30s, 40s, they can revisit this and watch this.
They will.
So thanks for giving us this opportunity to have this. It's a time capsule, really, So
Absolutely.
thank you.
I want to
Absolutely.
say thanks to everybody who watches this.
Thanks
Absolutely.
to everybody who watches this, he
Yes.
says.
And
Yes.
you.
Oh.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And, I'm going to extend that being gratitude and having thanks because this was all created from Gene Shepherd's heart. This story was created about his childhood And Bob Clark helped Gene Shepard bring it to life. And without Bob Clark and the casting people that brought the characters into this movie and filming and going through that whole process and even like Irwin Zwilling. So I want you guys to just take this in consideration, is that there is a man behind the scenes. His name is Irwin Zwilling. He was Bob Clark and Gene Shepard's accountant, and he was the one that had the conversations with Warner Brothers about bringing this to TV. Back in the 90s, he pressed and had conversations and spent time and energy in talking to Warner Brothers about putting A Christmas Story on TV because he knew the magic of this movie. And because of all of those choices and decisions that other people made in their life, we are sitting here now enjoying what they created. So I give thanks to them too. Yeah, it's amazing.
It is. It's just like, there's so many things, like once we're done here, I'm going to say, God, I wish I'd asked that. I wish, it is. There's so much magic, I think, left to be had, really, because like now it's kind of a gift that keeps on giving.
It is.
That's how I feel.
I agree. I agree 100%.
And we hope to see you again, like
you
in the
will,
flesh.
You will. The Hartman family is not going to be the last time. Trust and believe. You will. We're going to make a big splash again. It's happening. I just can't say when and how.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
We're excited.
I do wish you could come to our birthday.
Oh.
That would have been amazing. Maybe one of
No,
these
it's
years.
coming up.
Maybe
It's not here yet.
It's not here yet.
He wishes you could come to our birthday.
Inspirations. I love it. That's amazing.
That's really cute.
How old are you? How young are you gonna be?
9.
9.
Yep.
Nice.
These are twins, so they'll be 9. Yeah.
Cool.
So it's on the 31st. You can come and slide down bounce houses if you want. Come on over now. We're gonna have taco in a bag. So
Yay, that's awesome.
You're invited.
Yeah.
Oh, I appreciate the invite. That's amazing. That's very far few in between that I get invited to a 9-year-old's birthday. So that's truly special. We're gonna have to do something about that, Chelsea. we'll talk.
Okay. They would flip. I'm just saying that. Actually, I didn't know he's gonna invite you, so that's really awesome.
I feel honored. I really do, truly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's cute. Yeah.
Well, all right, you guys. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast. And we will see your faces.
Thanks for having us.
Okay.
Yes.
We want to extend a huge Christmas Story family thank you to Chelsea and Zach and their 3 awesome kids for sharing their magical adventures with us. It's stories like these that remind us why A Christmas Story has become more than just a movie. It's a part of our lives, a thread that connects us all together. Whether it's a holiday or not, we hope you take a moment to think about the memories you're creating with your own family. Remember, it's about something bigger, like a trip to Hammond, or maybe it's something small, like decorating the tree together. Whatever it is, hold it close, because those are the moments that make life beautiful. And as you gather around with your loved ones, remember, it's not the presents under the tree, but the presence of those around us that truly makes every season bright. That's why the A Christmas Story family has come together to create something truly unique just for you, the A Christmas Story immersion experience. Now imagine this. You're not just watching your favorite scene from A Christmas Story sitting on your couch. You're living it. You're interacting with the cast, weaving these beloved moments into your family's everyday life. This is the magic that we will bring to you at A Christmas Story family. What makes this even more extraordinary is on December 16, 2023, for the 40th anniversary of A Christmas Story, we held the biggest event in the movie's history in its birthplace, Hammond, Indiana. And the night before the grand celebration, we hosted a very special dinner with the cast, including Peter Billingsley, who plays Ralphie, and the mayor of Hammond, Irwin Zwilling, Gene Shepard's accountant and close friend as well as producer on A Christmas Story Christmas. The board members from the Indiana Welcome Center was there as well, and many other distinguished guests. Now, at this exclusive dinner, we unveiled our specially crafted gift boxes. These back here, these weren't just any boxes. I've got one. They were designed to look just like the iconic leg lamp crate and filled with major awards only the dad would dream of. Each box is valued over $2,500, and it was a tribute to the film's legacy and was given to our special guests to commemorate the historic milestone. We only made 28 of these boxes, rare boxes, making them incredibly valuable and exclusive. And I got one. But that's just the beginning, because now for the very first time ever, we're giving you the chance to get one of these exclusive boxes to enhance this new magical experience. And the best part about it is it's actually free. And to make it even more magical and historic, for the very first time ever in the 40-year history of the movie, we're recreating the original leg lamp, designed as seen in the movie, and an exact replica, which has never been done before. Our partner, Ruben Fried, the original creator of the leg lamp, and Bob Clark's close friend, who still has the original sketches of the leg lamp made for the movie, is bringing the original leg lamp and its original specs and design back to life. And it also comes in that free box. The cast and I have been working on this secret for months, and now it's time for you to discover its beauty. We invite you to check it out and give us your honest feedback and join us on this incredible journey. Now, trust me, you won't want to miss this. So go to www.christmasstoryfamily.com/freebox to find out more, and join us and become part of our extended family. Your exclusive journey awaits with us. Love you guys, and we'll see you soon.
Who's next? That deal guy.